had. And Chuck White was always this quiet, gentle, very professional guy who just he took it all in, and then before he'd offer his advice. And of course Chuck always had his advice to offer, and it always seemed to be right because he always could explain it so well. So for a young kid not really knowing any better, I thought Chuck was the coolest grandfather in the world because he knew everything. We'd ride around in the truck and we'd stop and check out some animal tracks. We'd run the machinery down at the shop. We'd drive around and fix things and build things, and then we'd go fishing. And I can remember walking by the lake with my mom, and it was getting cold out, and the water was starting to freeze, and it was turning to ice, and I think I was only 3 or 4. And I remember asking my mom why it was doing that, and she said, "Well, Jake, it's turning to winter, it's getting cold out, that's what happens, the water turns to ice." And I'm just like, yeah, that sounds like a good story, Mom, but we should really run this past Grandpa Chuck, because he knows what's going on here. And that's just kind of how I always thought of Chuck. And before coming to the Y, and I don't know if many people know this, he had the big league chasing the American dream type job where he was in the fast lane and working a lot and getting paid a lot. And he just decided one day that he wasn't spending enough time with his family, and he wanted his efforts to really mean something. And what better place to come work to, again, see your labors mean something, see the ends to the means. And so he literally packed his family up in a van and moved the whole White family from down south all the way up to Frost Valley and never looked back, and they moved into the gray house. And you can still see all the things that Chuck worked towards today. He raised a great family, and obviously my grandmother Joy worked in the health clinic, and they've got her picture up on the new one that I just saw for the first time. And you can see Margette's now that he helped build, and White Pond, and one of my favorite things to look at that always reminds me of Chuck is when you drive past the gray house down there, and the lawn used to be a lot bigger. Out behind the tree there's a big cluster of rocks, and it's these huge boulders out there, and they're totally out of place. Chuck decided one day when we were real little, the maintenance crew was digging something out of the ground, and they had to put something in, and there were all these leftover boulders. So Chuck spent about the next 2 or 3 hours, instead of going home after work, driving these boulders over to the backyard and stacking them up in the yard so that Bryce and I could play on them. And it created this whole new adventure land.